When country star Keith Urban broke down on live TV and cried while talking about his traumatic divorce from Nicole Kidman, the music industry was shocked. Keith made an unexpected choice in a raw and emotional moment. He quit a big portion of his life. What happened to make this moment so heartbreaking, and what does it indicate for his career and future? Keith Urban has always been noted for his strong voice, strong presence, and connection with fans. But nothing could have prepared the world for what happened on live TV. Fans and the public were shocked when Nicole Kidman and her husband, a Hollywood star, suddenly divorced after over 20 years of marriage. Keith couldn't stop crying when he talked about his sadness in a recent performance. He then did something unexpected that had everyone wondering what would happen next. In today's video, we'll look at the events that led up to his dramatic resignation and what it means for Keith, Nicole, and their followers. The love story that made everyone cry. Keith Urban, a country music star, and Nicole Kidman, a Hollywood icon, seemed like the perfect couple for over 20 years. Their love story looked unbreakable, with a bond that lasted through time. But just 3 months after their 19th wedding anniversary, the news of their breakup shocked the globe. Rumors of treachery and sadness spread quickly, but Keith's unexpected response left fans dumbfounded. What really made their once strong bond fall apart? A meeting that changed everything. Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban, both famous Australians, met by coincidence at the G'day USA Gala in Los Angeles in 2005. The gala was for Australians who had built a name for themselves in the US. Nicole was a famous Oscar-winning actress at the time, and Keith was a budding country music artist in Nashville. Two Australians who were distant from home met backstage, exchanged numbers, and got along right away. Nicole was immediately drawn to Keith, but he didn't get in touch for 4 months. He was shy, even though he was confident on stage, and he wasn't sure if he was ready to enter Nicole's beautiful, fame-filled world. But fate had different ideas. Their bond grew stronger when Keith called. They spent more time together in New York, where Nicole lived, and eventually their friendship grew into love. Keith came to her door at 5 a.m. on her 38th birthday with a bouquet of gardenias, which were her favorite flowers. Nicole was sold at that moment. They were engaged in May 2006 and had a fairy tale wedding in Sydney, Australia, on June 25, 2006. It was a celebration full of love, family, and promise. Keith sang "Making Memories of Us" to Nicole, which marked the start of their new life together. A love and struggle ride on a roller coaster. Keith had a nasty problem just a few months after getting married. He was addicted to booze. Nicole, out of love and concern, mounted an intervention to assist Keith in going into rehab. Even though things were crazy, they stayed close. Nicole was there to welcome Keith back with wide arms when he finished his treatment. They moved to a secluded property near Nashville to get away from the public eye and find tranquility. They had basic pleasures in their lives, like riding horses, going to the store, and raising their family. On July 7, 2008, the couple welcomed their first child together, Sunday Rose. Nicole told a great story of how Keith flew to Australia for her ultrasound, which showed how much he loved and cared for her. A few years later, they had their second daughter, Faith Margaret, who was born in December 2010 through a surrogate. Even though their family was becoming bigger and they were doing well, life still had its problems. Nicole's father died tragically in 2014, and Keith was there for her, singing "Amazing Grace" at the burial. A love that is perfectly flawed. Keith often said that Nicole was the reason he changed his life for the better. As the years went by, he respected her strength and resilience, and she showed him what love really meant. Keith published "The Fighter" in 2016, a song about Nicole, and their fun music video together warmed hearts all over the world. Their love looked unbreakable, and their mantra, "Nothing to hide, everything to protect," helped them get through good and bad times. They were always there for each other, whether they were on stage or in their private lives. They went to a lot of events together, and their two girls went with them to the Golden Globes in 2021. Keith kept supporting Nicole with pride by going to her events and playing at concerts. But things started to go wrong underneath. The stress of being famous and far away. There were rumors of strain by 2024. Keith's emotive performances, which occasionally made him break down in the middle of a song, hinted at deeper problems in his life. Nicole, who used to be a regular at his gigs, started to pull back and focus more on her job. Fans saw that things were getting worse, and rumors of trouble started to spread. Even though they both tried to save their relationship by going to counseling, spending time apart, and putting family first, the emotional gap between them became clear. Nicole and Keith had always had to balance busy jobs. Nicole worked on movies around the world, and Keith went on country music tours. Their busy lives, which included travel and time zones, finally caught up with them. Fame, which had once brought them together, was now putting their relationship to the test. Their jobs kept them busy all the time, which made them feel distant from each other, even though they loved each other deeply. The end of a story. Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban got a divorce in September 2025. After almost 20 years of marriage, many people were shocked by the news, especially those who had admired their strong, loving connection. But it was evident that the stress of celebrity, distance, and emotional pressure had taken its toll on them. Even though they tried to get back together, their link, which had once been unshakable, couldn't handle the distance that was growing between them. Their story, which was once about love, strength, and healing, was over, but their followers would always remember their journey together, which was full of ups and downs. Keith Urban and Nicole Kidman's sad breakup. Keith Urban and Nicole Kidman seemed to have beaten the odds. They battled addiction, fame, public scrutiny, and long-distance problems, but their love story ended after almost 20 years. What was different this time? Some people say it was time itself that made them feel like they had grown apart after 20 years. Some people think that the constant strain to keep up a pristine public image, even when they were having problems in private, wore them down. Some people still whispered that even though they still loved each other, they had grown apart emotionally and were no longer in sync. Keith remarked several times that Nicole made him a better man, and Nicole said that Keith taught her how to love passionately. Their love was always real, but after they broke up, it felt like the love they had changed and wasn't the same as it used to be. Nicole is said to have focused on her family and her production firm after the breakup. Fame had taken away many of the peaceful, uncomplicated times in her life that she found comfort in. Keith, on the other hand, put his feelings into his music. People who liked him could tell that he was really experiencing something in his performances. Each note had a depth of feeling that showed how hard it was to heal. He wouldn't say anything bad about Nicole in interviews, since he said she would always be someone he loved and admired. Their story didn't finish with anger. Instead, it ended with a peaceful understanding that had grown over the years through shared love, memories, and problems. Even though they had gone their own ways, they still respected one another. People may never know for sure what caused their breakup, but one thing is for sure: their love was real. It was profound, authentic, and hard to forget. A heartfelt tribute that now seems like a goodbye. Fans were heartbroken when an old video from 2024 came up online. In the days after they broke up, Keith Urban gave a really moving statement at the 49th American Film Institute Life Achievement Award ceremony, where Nicole Kidman was being honored for her amazing career. What started off as a celebration of her work quickly transformed into a real, honest look back at their life together, including their problems and their strong love for each other. Keith walked on stage in black and clearly upset, and the tension in the crowd was thick. Nicole sat in the crowd with her kids, Sunday Rose and Faith Margaret, and smiled sweetly. Keith started by talking about the early days of their marriage, which were full of hope, love, and happiness. But just a few months after their wedding, Keith's fight with addiction put everything at risk. He said he almost ruined everything while fighting back tears. Keith's voice shook as he added, "Nicole didn't walk away. She made the choice to stay. She picked love, and that's why I got my life back." The chamber was thick with his words. The audience was clearly moved and sat in silence. Nicole, who is usually calm at public occasions, couldn't help but show her feelings. She stared at him with both pride and sadness, remembering how far they had come together. Keith's tribute after the divorce. Keith Urban hit the stage during a concert in Bristow, Virginia, just days after the news broke that Nicole had filed for divorce. He didn't wear his wedding ring. He sang "The Fighter," a song that used to be a symbol of their love story during his show. This time, though, something felt off. One line of the song really resonated with audiences. The alteration was small, yet it had a big effect on how I felt. The Fighter has always been a song about their relationship and the strength they had as a couple. But now that the divorce was over, Keith's performance felt more real and open. Fans who had been closely monitoring their relationship saw the shift and could tell how heavy his remarks were. Keith, who is now 55, put his heart into the song, and the audience could feel every bit of his anguish and healing. Many admirers wondered if this modification in the song was an indication that he was still dealing with the dissolution of his marriage as the lyrics resonated through the air. The Fighter had always been a celebration of their love, but now it was a monument to how strong they had to be to deal with the challenges of fame, addiction, and personal growth. Fans had mixed feelings about Keith's performance because it was happening at the same time as their divorce. They were watching a man who had loved sincerely, made mistakes, and fought to keep his relationship together. It was evident that something had changed when he sang the song that had previously captured the core of their love. As their divorce became true, people couldn't help but think about the strong times they had together. Their tale may have come to an end, but the legacy of their love, with all its beauty and anguish, would live on via their music, memories, and the emotional speeches that had once brought them together. The moment that made fans speechless. Keith Urban's first big public event after his divorce was supposed to be a music celebration. Instead, it turned into a moment that fans would remember forever and play over and over. Keith startled the crowd by changing the words to "The Fighter" during his performance. He didn't sing, "When they're trying to get to you, baby, I'll be the fighter." Instead, he sang, "When they're trying to get to you, Maggie, I'll be your guitar player." The crowd stood still for a second. Maggie Baugh, a 25-year-old country singer who plays in Keith's touring band, was standing next to him. Maggie was astonished but smiled. Later, she posted the video on Instagram with the remark, "Did he just say that?" The post spread swiftly, leading to speculation. Fans put together the shift in the lyrics, the missing wedding band, and the timing of Nicole's divorce filing. What the changed lyric means. We need to go back to 2016 to understand why this moment impacted so hard. Keith didn't just write "The Fighter" as a song, it was a love letter to Nicole. Keith had said in an interview that the song was based on real talks he and Nicole had early in their marriage about how to heal and protect each other. It was a promise, a commitment. Fans had always thought of "The Fighter" as their song, a love story told through words, but when Keith changed the lyrics during the concert, it felt like that part of the story was over. Some people defended Keith by noting that he often changes lyrics for fun, while others pointed out the time and how emotional he was when he performed. The Maggie Baugh guess. People started to guess what Maggie's post meant. Maggie, who is known for her lively theatrical presence, joined Keith's tour earlier that year. Fans noted she wasn't at Keith's next gig in Hershey, Pennsylvania after the viral video. Natalie Stovall, another musician, took her position instead. The chemistry Keith and Natalie had only made things worse. Keith and Maggie, on the other hand, stayed quiet and didn't say anything about what was going on. There was a lot of talk about their relationship, but neither of them spoke about it in public. Keith's High and Alive tour. Every show on Keith's High and Alive World Tour became more important as the tour went on. Fans couldn't help but read between the lines of his lyrics, the missing wedding ring, and the way he seemed so emotional. Keith hadn't spoken anything about the divorce in public yet, but his performances seemed to tell a different story, one of suffering, healing, and thinking things over. Keith was still grateful for the years he spent in his marriage, remembering the love and memories they shared. He still felt a lot of respect for Nicole, even if their relationship was over. Nicole Kidman's graceful return to the public eye. Nicole Kidman showed bravery and grace when she made her first public appearance after the divorce news. On October 4th, 2025, she went to the American Foundation for AIDS Research Gala in Dallas, Texas, looking serene and determined. She wasn't there to talk about her divorce. She was there to support a cause that was very important to her. Nicole looked lovely in a black off-the-shoulder gown. She was both strong and vulnerable at the same time. She gave a moving speech that reminded everyone of how much she cared and how dedicated she was to making a difference. Nicole stayed focused on the broader picture, even if her personal life was hard. This showed that her strength derived from assisting others, a message of strength and resilience. Nicole acted with quiet dignity, even though she was going through a lot of trouble. She smiled pleasantly at visitors and talked to young campaigners, showing strength and grace. Even though her ring finger was bare, she seemed to be in good spirits. She showed the world that life goes on after a broken heart, and that love and compassion can help heal wounds. Nicole's choice to go to the event said a lot. She wasn't hiding from her sorrow. She was utilizing it as fuel to make a difference. That night, she did things that showed that love can change, but purpose and compassion never do. A new chapter, parenting together with care. Nicole and Keith are still going to raise their kids together, even if their marriage is over. Their main goal today is to provide Sunday Rose and Faith Margaret a stable, peaceful, and loving home. Even though their romantic connection is over, they have both agreed to keep being co-parents. Nicole has said that Keith will always be the one she loves the most. Their marriage may have changed, but their love for each other hasn't. Even if their tale is different now, it goes on with respect, care, and the link of becoming parents. What caused their divorce? As fans think about how Keith and Nicole's relationship has changed, a lot of them question what really led to their breakup. Was it time, the stress of becoming famous, distance in feelings, or something else altogether? Let us know what you think in the comments. Keith Urban's emotional breakdown and resignation sent shockwaves across the music world, reminding us all that even the strongest among us are vulnerable. While the future remains uncertain for both him and Nicole, one thing is clear. The love they shared was deep and genuine, even if their paths have now diverged. What do you think this means for Keith's career and personal life moving forward? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more updates on this emotional journey.